So, to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I am a nurse aide at a rehab hospital here in town. And I help patients and everything like that. And I was able to connect really well with one of my patients and spent a lot of time with her. But over time, she took a turn for the worst, and her health slowly started to decline, where she eventually passed away. Um, and unfortunately, I didn't have any resources to help me communicate what had happened and to help me process all the feelings I was feeling. That leads me to my topic of why communities should have more mental health resources. Yeah. According to the National Council for Behavioral Health, 96 million Americans, or 38%, have had to wait longer than 1 week for mental health treatments. And nearly half of Americans, at 46%, have had to or know someone who has had to drive more than an hour round trip to seek treatment for their mental health issues. Having to wait a week for mental health treatment is kind of unacceptable, and that number definitely needs to change. So, what I'm going to talk about today is what are some current resources in place and do they work, why we should change that they don't work, and how we can sort of change those. So let's first discuss some resources in place for mental health. So current resources in place include psych and mental health offices, but there's still a stigma around mental health. According to the NCBH, nearly 1/3 of Americans, or 31%, have worried about others judging them when they told them that they have sought mental health treatment services, anything like that. And over a fifth of the population, or 21%, have even lied to avoid telling people that they were seeking mental health services. So 20%, so 1/5 are lying to people about getting this treatment. There should not be a stigma around mental health and people do not know where to go or feel as they are viewed as weak. I know when I struggled with anxiety, I personally waited till my actual health declined. At first it was just overthinking, overprocessing, constant worrying, and then it slowly started to affect my health. My chest was always extremely tight. I was always nervous about something. My heart rate was always high. And I was feeling like I was having heart attacks, really. I finally let it get to that point before I started to get help, and that's really not how it should be. So we see what keeps people from getting these resources as regards to mental health. So let's talk about why this kind of needs to change. As a community, we should care more about mental health and its negative side effects. Most people wait too long before they get treatment, and that kind of and these early signs start in elementary school. Yes, elementary school. So, according to helpguide.org, symptoms of a mental health disorder, especially anxiety, start in an early age. What if fears about situations in the far future, perfectionism of just constantly worrying about being perfect, feeling as they're to blame for any disaster when they're just kids. They shouldn't feel as if they're to blame for these events in their lives, and convictions that misfortune is contagious. So things that are bad that are happening are going to constantly happen, and need for frequent reassurance and approval. It all starts in these early years for a child, and there has to be a resource in schools, a child therapist or counselor that specializes with kids to help them with these early years, to help them with these stressors and the anxiety of these early years of life. Whether they're stress in the household or just the stresses of school and friendships, children need help that should be provided by schools, and even later in high schools and junior highs and things like that. So it obviously starts in the early years as far as anxiety is concerned, or any mental health disorders. But But let's talk about how we can change this. So mental health is a vital part in keeping people healthy. It's not just about keeping your body healthy, it's about keeping your mind healthy. And so first thing is to stop the stigma of depression, anxiety, and some of these disorders. Feeling like you don't need help, because it's okay to get help. Everyone needs help. You go to the doctor when you're feeling sick or thing like that. So it's okay to go to the doctor and tell them when you're struggling with the stresses of life. Take care of people. When you're talking to your friends, don't just say good and everything's fine. Be honest with people. That goes a long way as far as mental health is concerned. If your friend tells you that they're struggling with anxiety or depression, don't discourage them from getting help, whether it's talking to someone or getting on some medication. And finally, encourage mental health in workplaces, schools. That is where they can have the biggest impact, because that's where the main stressors come from, is work and schools. So after seeing the systems that are in place and what we can do, let's kind of go over what we kind of talked about. So why things should change. Obviously, communities need more help. Honestly, communities need more help, mental health programs, resources, and we can be the ones to change that. So the next time you hear about a friend or family member struggling with stress, do not seem like their normal self, make sure you check on them and make sure they're getting the help they need, because keeping our minds healthy is one of the most important parts of life.